This afternoon, foot traffic, that is. Members of the Palm Springs Lesbian and Gay Pride organization held their 8th annual march near Duluth Park. About 60 groups and organizations participated in the walk, and TV3's Steve Volker introduces us to a family who's come a long way with the help of one particular group.
It was only 8 months ago that 19-year-old Lisa Townsend told her family she was gay. Lisa is walking with her parents and girlfriend together. Lisa was aware of her sexual preference from the time she was very young, and finally, after she graduated from high school, the time was right to come out.
I couldn't hold it in any longer, and I had told all my friends. All my friends had known, and my sister knew, and my grandmother knew, and it was time for Mom to know, so I kind of spilled the beans in a car.
I guess in some ways I sort of kind of suspected and maybe thought about it, but I'd always push that aside, hoping that it wouldn't come about. So, but there was no panic or anything other than the fact that I fell apart on her and cried for 2 days.
Lisa's mother says the most difficult part of the news was letting go of her dreams of Lisa's future.
Well, what you actually have to do, basically, more than anything else, is realize that your dreams are not necessarily her dreams, and you go through a period of mourning over the loss of your dreams, but not her dreams.
The hard part about it is knowing what my mother felt. You know, the white wedding, the grandkids running around, and the traditional husband and wife scene at Thanksgiving and Christmas dinner was really tough because I knew I was blowing her dreams out of the water.
Lisa's parents show unconditional love for their daughter by walking in this parade. With help from the group Parents and Friends of Lesbians and Gays, the Townsends show how care keeps families like theirs together.
Saying they don't exist, that isn't going to help. You've got to work together, and it will work.
Steve Volker, TV3 News, Palm Springs.
Tonight, Palm Springs City Council members endorsed a state-proposed law barring sexual discrimination. Assembly Bill 101 seeks to add sexual orientation to an already long list protecting minority rights under the Fair Employment and Housing Act. The State Assembly cleared the bill by 1 vote Friday, and Governor Pete Wilson has indicated his willingness to sign the bill if it is cleared by the Senate. But among tonight's standing room-only crowd, there were more than a handful of residents who strongly opposed the bill.
If you folks agree to the passage of such a bill, you're opening the door for things that I think the majority of your constituents are very much against and opposed to.
However, gay rights advocates claim they are being unfairly discriminated against.
Where people think that you can get AIDS by working alongside of someone who may be HIV infected. This, of course, is not true, and that's why they are supporting this issue, but it does affect all people.
Council members Chuck Murawski, Tuck Broik, and Dana Hodges voted in favor, while Mayor Sonny Bono and Earl Neal voted against the endorsement. The Coachella...
Thank you for joining us tonight. Gay rights activists from across the state are converging on Indian Wells at this hour. They've lined up outside the Racket Club to protest Governor Pete Wilson's veto of the gay rights bill earlier this week.
Wilson is in town tonight to attend a Republican fundraiser, and the protesters hope to make his visit as uncomfortable as possible. C.J. Ward has just returned from the scene and is standing by live in the newsroom with more.
That's right, Chris. Cars began lining up along Highway 111 around 4:30 today, and the protest was underway by 5, with more than 60 people carrying signs and chanting and yelling slogans from everything from "Wilson is a liar" to "Wilson has declared war."
What do we want? Equal rights now! What do we want? Equal rights now!
Most of the protesters are from the Valley, but there are a handful of activists who made the trip from Los Angeles to support the gay and lesbian groups here in the desert. This is the 5th day of protesting by gay rights supporters since Wilson vetoed AB 101. They have made it clear they will hound Governor Wilson for betraying them.
We're calling this the California Stonewall. People are upset, they're angry, we're not going to take it anymore, and many of us, like GLAAD or like the organization GLAAD, we're against people defaming and discriminating against us, and so we're out to stop it.
It's brought people together. There's a rage that says something as simple as adding us for non-discrimination to an already piece of legislation that's non-discriminatory is the worst kind of slap in the face.
About 10 minutes before the protest started, a bus loaded with sheriff's deputies entered the racket club dressed in riot gear as a precautionary measure. Wilson is expected to arrive at the racket club, or was, around 5:45 to attend a fundraiser for Assemblywoman Tricia Hunter at a private residence. It would be interesting to see how she feels about all of this going on at her fundraiser, but we have not been able to get any reaction from her yet. Dana, Chris, back to you.
CJ, I doubt that this fight is over, even though Governor Wilson will be leaving the Valley in a short while. Do you know what the protesters have planned for in the coming weeks?
Well, some of the protesters are saying that there may be a boycott of some businesses throughout the state, and on October 11th, they may have a work stoppage, and knowing that we have a high gay population here in the Valley, that could affect us greatly.
All right, thank you, CJ, for that live report from the newsroom. We'll have more details at 11. Christine?
The city...
A major step backward, completely turned his back upon us and the things that he had communicated to us while he was campaigning.
Some of the protesters say they don't like Clinton's policy, but at the same time credit him with at least trying to make a change.
I agree with most of my brothers and sisters in the gay movement that this is not a perfect solution, but I'd have to also venture the thought that half a loaf is better than none.
Today's protesters included members of the Valley chapter of the National Organization for Women, the Gay and Lesbian Alliance of the Desert, the Log Cabin Republican Club, and the Democratic Association of the Coachella Valley.